Hello. Today a problem to be solved. The jail of the black king is well closed, but there is a flight. The e8 square is controlled by the rook d8 and the knight c7. f8 is controlled by the rook and blocked by the bishop. g8 is only blocked by the rook on g8. g7 is a flight, not blocked and not guarded by white. g6 is controlled by the pawn h5 and by the queen g5. f6 is controlled by the queen and the knight e4. e6 is controlled only by the knight c7. e7 is controlled by the queen and blocked by the pawn. Now you have also to notice a battery by rook f1 and bishop f2. If the bishop goes anywhere, you will have a check. For example, bishop d4 that controls g7, but you have two black pieces that are controlling the f line, and it is too much for a mate in 2. Bishop f3 is enough, and then you will have no mate by rook takes because you have still the knight that is controlling. Another thing to say is that rook g8 to h8 that gives a second flight is followed by queen mates by playing on g6. You have also pawn takes h5 that pins the queen, and it is a strong move for black. If you want to solve, pause the video and I'm going on. The key is rook d7 that pins the pawn and then threatens queen f6 mate. So let's say if the bishop goes anywhere or any black move that doesn't parry the threat, you will have queen f6 mate. So let's have a look at the moves that are defenses. The first one, let's say pawn takes h5 that pins the queen and then does not allow the queen to mate. This move also opens the line of the queen to g7. So now you have knight to d6, and you use now the pin of the e7 pawn to d6. First you used it to f6 and now you use it to d6. Another defense is rook g8 to g7 that gives now a flight on g8, and then you have not queen f6 but you have queen d5 that is controlling also g8 and uses the pin of the pawn to e6. Another defense is to go to the flight with the king, and then you will not be able to mate on f6 because of the flight on h6. But there is a mate, that is bishop mates on d4. The rook is open to f7 and the black pawn is now pinned to e5. So you have the pin of the pawn that is used to f6, to d6, to e6, and now to e5. There are some other defenses. Bishop to g7 that controls f6, queen e7, rook g8 to h8, queen takes g6, and that's all. All in all, in this problem, what is nice to my eyes, the idea of the author is to show the black pawn e7 that is very active to f6, to d6, to e6, and to e5, and this pawn doesn't move at all. But the pin is used to these four squares, and you see a non-moving pawn that is somewhere controlling four squares. So it's a very nice idea, and very well done. I hope you enjoyed it, and bye next time for another problem. Thank you.